Sorry, I'm just doing all the noises and shit in there. Hey! CoCo be going live. 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 Every day I'm tuned in. CoCo be going live. Shout out.
I'm the real CoCo, back with another episode of CoCo's Tea. Episode 87, y'all. What's good? Now, last episode, Coffee Dates, got a lot of reactions, a lot of people asking questions, and a lot of people being interested in some of the things that we had to say on the show last week. Or not last week, it was a couple weeks ago now. So, I brought back Shelley and Chris. Trey is not here. Mainly because Chris and Trey... I mean, not Chris and Trey... Chris and Shelley had the most to say and kind of took over the show a little bit and had their banter and also had their unique perspectives. So I wanted to bring them back on the show to kind of recap everything that we discussed and to also ask questions or discuss things that some listeners had. So I'm going to read off some questions that some listeners had. But before... But before we get there, welcome back, Shelley and Chris.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure you guys are talking to the mic too.
Thanks. I've been looking forward to this conversation again.
Really? Why is that?
The Shelley the honesty was just so underappreciated.
By you?
I think by everybody. Okay. So I want to salute your honesty, and it was refreshing because not too many people gonna be honest about that and raw and sincere.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Shelley?
Well, to say this, I wasn't supposed to be on the last podcast.
Shelley was not supposed to be on the last podcast.
Random,
I think I said that. DJ Gorge is supposed to be here. Shelley has been my friend since I was 6 years old, and she lives up the street from here, so I called her and I was like, hey, can you come down here real quick?
Yeah, and I dropped everything.
She dropped. That's what best friends do. I know. She loves me.
I do. We dropped everything, so I will say this. I wasn't planning on to do a podcast.
Made for great content.
And, listening back, I did listen back a couple times, and my mom talked about it.
Your mom listened?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Not some parts. I just we're not going to go through this part.
Oh, Lord.
And we had a small group, and some of the ladies mentioned it at our small group me and Cody do. But I could clarify some things better, so hopefully this is my chance to kind of clarify what I meant by some of the things, because I was really vague. But I did appreciate the male perspective because it makes me better. It makes me think about topics. Some things I did agree with you guys on, but then I thought okay, I had a better rebuttal for that. I just wasn't
prepared.
Yeah, I just wasn't prepared. I'm more prepared now, but I know some people might have dragged me, and that's fine. I got a thick skin. I don't care. But I said what I said. I still agree with everything I said that day. I just should have clarified it better. But I stand by what I say for the most part, 99% of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was actually going to be the first thing that I brought to the table, was because I think we do have conversations like that. We're sparring off the top of our heads, right? Mm-hmm. And so we've gone back and we've listened to the episode. We've heard people's reactions. We probably thought about things in different ways. And so that was going to be the first thing I asked you guys is, what are the things, after listening back to the episode, what are some of the things that you guys wish that you would have explained better, wish you had not said or had said, expound on, etc., etc.?
It was a long podcast, you guys.
It was long. And hopefully today will not be as long.
Right. Chris,
I think we could expound on, like you said, like with the roles, like people,
women and men.
Yeah, women and men, like the expectation on what you say you can trade for a man you want. Like you said, a man needs to come in with some benefit to your life. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what are you going to give him that is equal value?
I need to clarify
all you said is time, or
I need to clarify that.
Good vibes, but we can't put that. What does that look like? Like, what does that really mean? Good energy, feminine, and all of that.
Well, I did talk about the feminine energy perspective.
Make sure you speak to the mic.
Sorry, I did talk about the feminine energy perspective. So my whole thing was, when I re-listened to the podcast, I just kind of felt like it was like men, you know how Trey and you talked about when y'all look at a woman, y'all look at the physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very like a double standard for a man to say point blank, I look at the physical first, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what, men are visual. My whole thing was, what is wrong with the woman saying, well, I look at a man's resources. That's in our nature as well. But going back to what does a woman offer a man, I feel like that conversation was like, it has to be equal to that man. Like, are you buying him gifts? Like, it was kind of like, well, if you're feminine energy or being there, being a mother, that's not enough, right? But I personally feel like, and people might drag me on this, that men and women aren't necessarily equal. They complement each other. So we offer each other different things. You see what I'm saying?
I see
so
that.
man is a protector and provider. Of course, he's going to offer more than material things, financial things. As a woman being a lover and nurturer, she's going to offer more of the loving side, taking care of kids, nurturing, providing for a family. I mean, think about your mothers. Think about the mothers in your life. How much do you go for them for everything? And for women, we depend on men because we have children depending on us. It goes down a ladder. So it's not a matter of, oh, he buys me something, so as a woman, I need to feel like I need to buy him something to be equal. A lot of times, men will buy you stuff, and if you're just appreciative and loving and supportive, and that's
enough.
That's enough for some, and for their relationships, the relationships I've had, that has been enough. Just me saying thank you.
Your boobs look great.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I just think in that top, this is a crop top, so it's like your boobs look good.
I was on a roll, but
I didn't have to notice it.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So whatever I said before then,
Yeah.
I hope I.
She threw y'all.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't mean to throw y'all.
Did
whatever.
I have big concentration?
I mean, it was like.
Oh, you
I just wasn't
you like
expecting that.
You like when I compliment you, boo?
Okay, this is getting weird. Is it because it's late night that we're getting
late
freaky
night.
or something?
It's
It's like 8:52.
But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with you looking at a man's resources. We were just saying, am I obligated to give you that when we haven't just established anything future? Like I said, just initial.
Right,
All
and
in
that's
the
what.
context of initial meeting.
Right, no. To clarify again, I'm not saying on the first date you buy her something, you give her money. I'm not saying that.
No, you said he need to be able to add value to your life.
Add value. So going back,
Yeah.
So those resources, right?
Women also look at status too. So even if he can't add monetary value right then and there, he might be of a certain profession. So that will add like a status. Even though I don't have money, it's kind of like, okay, I'm dating so-and-so or I'm with so-and-so. And women are naturally drawn to power.
And I think for me, and sorry, not to cut you off, but just to say, like, for me, when it comes to a man, a lot of times it may not be how much money he makes, but like you said, for me, if I find out a guy is a part of a specific fraternity, there's a certain,
alpha.
well, there's a certain, like, I guess I could become just a tiny bit more interested, and that's just because my dad was a part of that same fraternity, and so for me it's just like, he probably is this kind of man, and so he probably knows the same men that I know, or similar type men that I'm accustomed to, XYZ, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or it may be, he went to an HBCU, so it's like we have that commonality, or there's certain things where it's like he adds a certain level of value because we have similar interests, or he may have a network that he's tapped into that I may not be a part of already.
And that's a status thing. Those are the intangibles, right? Those are the things that you can't buy. So that's like a networking system. Like a fraternity is a networking system, right? So if you're a young woman and you're dating a man in a certain fraternity, a certain career, you're automatically seen as attachment to him and that networking system, so that could help you out as well. And let's be honest, a lot of times with women, your value increases with the type of man you're with, vice versa. Say I go on a date with Drake. All the men that play me now want to date me because I date Drake.
And that's what they
slept
do.
With
They
Drake.
pass around
Think
pussy
about
in the
it.
industry.
Think about it. I mean, look at Black China dating these nobodies, and now all of a sudden they're famous. Like, people do that all the
But
time.
she was nobody.
I mean, I'm just saying she was more of a celebrity than some of the men she's dated.
So
I love Black China. If Black China people hear this,
so
I
it
love you.
sounds
But
like if we're looking for help, not the love that you say you want.
well, it's in a woman's nature is to naturally
We want all of it.
We
Y'all
want.
want everything you want.
Okay.
Duh.
I don't think there's anything wrong for a woman to ask for help. A woman that's in her feminine energy. Personally. Some women might disagree with me with that, but I ask my men for help all the time, even if I can do it.
I think that's what it should be for. Like, if you need help, if we got that relationship, I'm supposed to lift you up, and vice versa.
And that's not always financially. I mean, I had this one guy. I was like, you know, I was dating this one guy, and it was snowing in St. Louis, and my car was completely snowed over, and I was like, you know, and my baby boy is like, babe, can you, you know, wipe the car? You know, can you wipe my car off where I can go to class? And he did it. And I think that's just a great thing about a man.
And you guys have an amazing blowjob afterwards, right?
Okay, look, stop.
No, but I'm just saying.
Attorney. But like, look, I'm just saying. I'm not gonna
see.
I was really, really appreciative. I said thank you, but he was happy to do it. Even times I would be with a guy and it was late at night and like he heard something outside, he would run up and like make sure everything was okay.
No, okay. Sex is part of it. Sex is part of it. Like, let's not act like we don't do shit in return and be like, all right, babe,
it's deeper than sex. It's deeper than sex. This is all masculine energy. And most of the time, men like to help women. If I'm at a store and I'm like, have a hard time reaching something, a man will come to my rescue before a woman.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, let me help you. I mean, it happens all the time. Any Daisy, Cody, me can all attest to sometime a man, sometimes will even offer their help and we didn't even ask. Because that's in your nature. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times our nature is like, oh, sure. Yeah. And we're not just like sleeping with them or dating them. It's just in y'all's nature to help women that, you know, we're weaker than you guys physically most of the time. You know, y'all are, y'all see yourselves as like protectors of women that you love. I mean, think about the women's sisters, nieces in your life. Don't you help them? Don't you cater to them more than like your nephews or your brothers because you see them as like a lady, not a female.
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong with that. It's just when women intentionally seek men that can do something for them, you're not dating for that person, you're dating for what they can do for you.
But like I said,
for all the above.
But this is the key. The top reason why is going to determine why you did with him. So you say, well, he may not be that physically appealing, but he got this network. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to go with that because that's the better benefit. Mm-hmm. So your sole reason is because you want to gain leverage or access to
But we already discussed last podcast how a man's physical appearance is not priority for us.
Well, we're not talking about just the man. We're just saying you're dating for a reason, like she said, for help versus the love.
I mean, have you heard the 5 signs of love?
I don't endorse them all in its entirety. I understand them, but you can't get one without the other. All of those are just one universal. Well, they're just broken down.
Well, I mean, I think there's some that are priorities over.
There's
so who? It just depends on who.
Yeah, but
so for a lot of people, there's like which one is number 1 for you and which one is like number
2
5.
or 3.
Yeah.
But all of them, you still want all of them.
Yeah.
So it's one universal language that's broken down in the dialect, if you will. So if I'm dating you and I say, man, I don't like it, but she got $1 million, or she plugged in with Beyonce folks or somebody like that. I'm not really dating for her, and it's not gonna work because once I get my agenda, once my agenda is done, I'm gonna cast it to the side more than one.
Okay, so let's flip this around. Y'all go to a party. Y'all see a couple girls that y'all really like, the really pretty ones, okay? The baddies, the bad ones we talked about, the fine ones. A couple girls are only 5s or 6s, okay? Mm-hmm. Are you looking at that girl that's a 9 or 10 in your eyes and saying, you know, I want her for her or whatever? Men's agenda is sex.
We don't know you yet.
Okay, but when y'all see a woman, what's the first thing y'all think of? Physical.
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing.
First thing is a physical. So why is it so? I'm not disputing that y'all shouldn't. That's not my thing. I'm saying like men are visual, but why is this whole
why can't
debate? Why can't we have this
that one thing that we look for?
We're not saying you can't. Let's say to your analogy.
Because for y'all, men fall in love through their eyes. So it's kind of like it doesn't matter if I'm not attractive to that guy, if I'm butt ugly to that guy or whatever. It doesn't matter my personality because he's never probably gonna love me for me because he's not physically attracted to me. So why am I wrong for saying, you know what, I look at a man's resources, his status before I like make an emotional investment?
we're not saying that's wrong. Like, to go back to your point, to put everything in context. Let's say men make decisions. It's a process. Let's say I see I see the Stingray Corvette, and I'm like, well, I like the way it looks, man. That car is nice. I want to drive it. Let me see how it drives. Hey, man, what's the gas mileage on it? We processing everything, every benefit and disadvantage or non-benefit about it before we actually purchase it.
And women do that too.
But I'm talking about going back to the visual. Just because we say you fine don't mean we gonna have any elaborate plan until we get to know you a little bit more. Some dudes may just go off the physical, they just want sex. You would know that.
But I don't think we have elaborate plans either. I think we just, that is the basis.
Yeah, but I'm like, if the woman's not fine, y'all ain't even gonna take her for a test drive.
First.
Okay, but we're saying
we ain't going just off your looks.
But we're not going just off y'all's money either.
But
we're just as a part of the fact. It's a factor. You know, it's an important factor.
The top factor is how he can benefit you.
My top factor.
Because you said the first thing you look at is resources. The resources, how can you benefit from those? You don't want to just see him with a pile of money over here and you can't access it. You're going to want access to it.
Not necessarily in the beginning, I wouldn't expect.
What you mean the beginning?
That's
relative.
Beginning.
The first year is the beginning. The first 2 years can be the beginning. If you look at couples that's been together 40 years.
Oh.
The first 2 years is the beginning.
Well, no marriage? 40 years and no marriage?
No, they've been together 40 years.
Oh, married is different. Because that's a business contract at that point. You're in there.
If he's just saying, I want you for your looks, and you say, I want you for your resource, and y'all swap that out, it's prostitution.
Okay.
Okay,
no. Okay, I'm not saying that is okay, but what I'm saying is, if you look at the concept of what a marriage is and what it was founded upon, it was founded essentially on that. It was like back in the day, daddies used to trade in their daughters for land from the boy who lived down the street or whatever and get the property. It was about, you were essentially a man's property when you got married. Mm-hmm. So it's the same shit
love
today.
What you're saying, because if it's just that, let's treat it as that. Don't have me jumping through loops, and you can't take me to Popeyes. You got to take me to.
No, but chivalry's a thing though, because they used to court them. So if you want to talk,
so if I'm going to be your property, there's still going to be things that we're going to do. There's still going to be standards and guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah, because if we look back to
treating women like property.
Because really, marrying for love, and I'm probably dragged by this too, is that. Marrying for love is actually a very new way of thinking about marriage. It used to not be about love. It used to be about two wealthy families or a woman trying to move up, hypergamy, how we talked about it earlier. It was more about that. So I think for some women like me, I'm more of a traditional. I don't look at marriage as like, oh, I'm going to meet the love of my life and, we're just going to go away with each other. No. Marriage is a business contract, and I learned that in law school, first and foremost. Anyone that's seen anyone get divorced, you definitely see how it's a marriage contract, first and foremost. Right. And you're going to fall in love. You're going to fall out of lust and love in a marriage. A lot of people do that. If you're married for 20, 30 years, all you're going to have is your resources. All you're going to have is your comfort. And a lot of times women don't want to think about, as you get older, life gets more expensive. And a lot of women that say,
and more challenging.
Oh, when women say, oh, money doesn't matter. Okay, tell that to your kids when they're not in like the best school district. Tell that to when you can't afford to go on vacation. And as women get older, they get resentful. And I've seen this happen to women in my family. If you talk to older women that have gotten divorced or have had bad luck with men, I've had older women tell me like, marry for money. Period. I've had women tell me, period. I've even, my mom has told me like, look, love don't pay the bills. I had a male cousin told me that. Don't bring no broke man home. We don't do that. And he told me straight up. Men will tell you that are older, be like, look, like this little cute little boy you're going with, like, can he provide and protect for you? Because that's what's gonna ride in a marriage. Even if you get a divorce, I mean, there's people that get divorced and they have that. But I couldn't imagine the feeling of getting divorced from a man that couldn't do anything for me. How heartbreaking that would be compared to a man that did a lot for me and was a good man. Exactly. Future was exactly right. People were like, "Oh my God, I'd rather cry in the Honda." I'm like, "Girl, you a lie."
Okay, so let's go back to the original prompt at the beginning. So that you've clarified some of the things that you've said. What about you, Chris?
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah,
I think we clarified.
We talked about the roles and with the value for the
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question because and Chris actually called you about this because I was listening back to the podcast and there were some things that I feel like were kind of going over my head. So my question to Chris was, you said that you did an experiment where you stood a woman up, and why are you so weak already?
Because women were talking about that, Chris.
So you said that you did an experiment where you stood a woman up, you didn't contact her until the next day, you gave her some bullshit answer as to why you didn't show up, and you said that you do that so you can know if that woman is really into you. And so you said that if the woman was not interested in you, then you know that she was just trying to get a free meal.
She was bored or whatever.
Or okay, just trying to fill up some time.
Yeah.
Okay. But if she still is willing to go on a date with you, then you know that she's really interested in you.
I feel more confident about her interest in me. Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm one of those women, because I've done this back in the day, not recently. If I really just wanted to get a free meal, I'm gonna stay in contact with you so I can make sure I get that free meal.
Yeah, but guess what? You gonna work.
But what I'm saying also is that if I was, but my thing
You
is
gotta do
this:
some things.
if I was interested in a guy, then and that's the first thing that you do is stand me up. I don't want to go out with you again because look at how you treated me. You stood me up and you didn't communicate with me for 24 hours. Then when you did decide to contact me, you gave me a bullshit answer. And
when did your practical side kick in? You say, you know what, life happens. He probably had something happen.
I would need to know what actually happened. I don't need a bullshit answer.
And you would need to cancel. Like,
that's not an answer.
Talk to her that day, not the day after.
That's not a sufficient answer. You got caught up in what?
I was handling some stuff.
That's not telling me anything.
But it's personal. I mean, I want you in my business.
Oh.
I got caught up in family stuff.
Okay. But that's also a lie.
How you know?
Because you just told me that you did this as an experiment.
I'm just saying, how do you know it's on the receiving end that I'm lying to you?
I just don't feel like. So let's just say I do be like, oh, okay, it's okay, it's cool. Then what?
Again, if this is the deal breaker, you really was just looking for a muse this night. Like, you didn't take, because you would be more.
No, I'm asking you now. No. Okay,
perfect.
but answer my question. If you call me and give me whatever bullshit you feed me over the phone, and I say, okay, cool, then what? What's the next thing that's coming out of your mouth?
So
what's the next thing you do? I'm chilling.
Right.
What's going on? What you doing?
Shoot, I'm working. What you got to do this weekend?
I don't have anything solid yet. I just know I have a couple errands to run. Okay. What's going on?
I'm gonna be at the crib. You want to pull up? You can.
The crib.
To the crib?
Yeah.
To the crib.
Why am I pulling up to the crib? I don't know you.
Oh, I'm cooking a nice meal for myself. If you wanted to partake
For yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So then this run into another issue.
We're gonna make it.
And men will do that to you too.
But I feel like I run into another issue because it's like I don't know you to be going to your house.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll holler at you tomorrow.
Okay. See.
Dating in 2019.
We would not be so again. I will give you a perfect example. There was a guy who I felt like did me kind of dirty, and we didn't really stay. We fell out of contact. Got back in contact a couple months ago. He started hitting me up. Hey Cody, blase. I'd love to hear from you. I said okay. Hit me up again. Cody, I lost your number. Can you call me? I didn't ever call him. I was just like, yeah, I hit you up. Never called him. Third time around. Hey, are you free this weekend? Blah, blah, blah. Can we do this? So finally I was like, okay, we can go out. We go out, have a good time. Everything's good. Make plans to do something the next weekend. He tells me at the last minute, like probably a couple hours before we were supposed to get together, not going to be able to make it.
So now you have a pattern.
Right. So now I know I will not be doing anything with you. No, it wasn't a free meal because even the last time we were going to be going to an event. Okay. So it wasn't even about the meal. I actually like this person, which is why I gave him a second chance in the first place. Because I also know that when we were dating the first time around, he has a lot of issues. Like that sounds bad. I just know that he suffers from a little bit of anxiety and depression, and I understand what that's like. And so I gave him a little bit of grace. That's why the second time around he apologized and he continued to. I had put a meme on my story, It's some, I forgot what it was. It was like stand out from the rest of the. It was some petty stuff, but it was like stand out from the rest of the guys and cash app her $15 so she can get a meal or whatever. And he cashed at me, and I was like, oh, so he's for real trying to like go out. So, and this was after we had already decided we were going to go out that weekend anyway. So the money wasn't even a factor. I was just very surprised that he did that. So for him to just like cancel at the last second, and I haven't heard from him since then. I was just like, okay, so we will never be going down that path.
You're doing good. Consistently inconsistent. That's the way to go. I'm telling you.
It's not the way to go because he's not going to ever.
Change that cash out to $40 next time. You seen it 40. He gonna get it right.
All it's gonna be is just $40 in my account. That don't mean it's gonna be. That doesn't mean that the relationship between him and I is gonna change.
I'm just messing with you. But I'm saying this. I understand the effort in some of these things as far as what you expect versus what I expect. So if we meet in the middle, if I invite you, I'm going back to the previous comment. If I invite you to my house and say I'm cooking, let's say I'm a nice cook. I can cook. So I'm cooking some good food, and you say you're not coming because you don't want to come to my house because we haven't went on a date yet.
No, but see, again, like we said before, you're viewing date in the context of not going to the coffee shop and only going to Papa Do's. Like I said last time, we can go to the park and get ice cream cones. We can go to the museum. We can meet up and like I said, I don't like coffee, but if you take me to an ice cream shop or we meet up at a bar and just get a couple drinks, I'm fine with that. So it's not that I'm looking for you to spend $30 on me at a meal at my favorite restaurant. It's the fact that I want to get to know you before I step into your house.
But what if, okay, you can't get to know me in my house is what you're saying.
I don't know you. You could kill me.
And men try to have sex with you. They try to get too close. Like, y'all won't leave us alone.
There are a lot of situations.
I do understand.
There are a lot of situations where women have gone to even in public. So even going in public with a man is not always the safest, but certainly going to a man's home that you do not know, who is still essentially a stranger, then people have gotten killed that way and have gotten raped. Is there something that he wants to say?
I love it. What he said is we need to go to a bookstore so you can find out how smart or dumb the person is.
That's perfectly fine with me.
I mean, it was a joke. It was funny.
But I'm not against that because I have my degree in English. I love going to the library.
Smart.
Because I want to be able to see how long it's going to take for you to read a paragraph.
Hey,
that's actually a great idea.
What you read? Like, what's your favorite, like, non-fiction or fiction? If you say...
Dr. Seuss.
You say what? Non-fiction? If you say, what's that?
I'd be like, so I'm just going to go home. I got to go run to the store real quick.
And most of the women are smarter than men anyway. Most of the time.
Always.
I dumb myself down with guys all the time.
Smarter or more educated? It's a difference.
Smarter.
You think
both? Well, I do think
education's not the same?
No, they're not the same. Because someone can be smart and not be traditionally educated and vice versa. But I think for some women, well, I can speak for myself. I know I'm both, so I know I dumb myself down a lot with guys because they're just not on my level of intelligence. And I say that in the most humble form of arrogance possible. But it's true.
But no, it is a fact that women are more educated than men, especially black women. And then secondly, we do just have a certain level of logic that we constantly are tapped into that you guys are a little bit more one-track minded.
Right. I mean,
and that's okay.
Not every guy.
That's how we make our lives better.
There have been guys that have been way smarter than me, and I preferred that.
Yes.
Because I learned from them.
Or just wiser.
Just wiser, but the majority of men
they may
that
have
I've come across, I would say about 90% of them, I'm like, wow, you're really basic. But I'm just going to smile and make you think you're smart, but you're not.
I understand what you're saying.
If anyone that's listening to this, I've dated you, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, sorry, not sorry. Okay, so let's get into some questions that some people have. So there's 22 comments so far. Let me read some of them.
22?
He said finesse 101. Let me read. Let me get to the top.
He said, bro, you got to tell you. There's Cody.
He just want to know if he can still get her.
Go to the bookstore. That's the funniest comment.
That's actually kind of a cute date because there's
I would love. I've
places.
gone to the bookstore once before with a
It's
guy
really
that I really
fun.
liked. I really don't mind that.
That's really creative. You know, you can really get to know each other on a deeper level. You know, that's cute. You
I
know.
love it. I love it.
Okay, so let's start. Okay, so he asked, Chris, what makes you the date master?
Oh, good question.
I love this question. I love this. So, what makes me the date master? Like I said, I have a vast experience in dating and in the interaction with women at an early age, all the way up to now. So, I've studied. I'm a psychology major. I'm a Pisces, so I'm the secret weapon. I observe everything. I study this. Like I study dating. Like I study relationship dating. Like I look at a lot of information. And like I said, what you start doing is applying these things. You can have all the information. If you apply it and it don't work out how it's supposed to, then you probably just got a bunch of information that's invaluable. But when you have information that you can apply and you see it and it works 98% of the time, you probably have some accurate information. So it's all about trial and error. You can't just come to this and say you the date master without applying and formalizing your own way
Without
of thinking.
standing up women.
I mean,
And
again,
using them as
that was just
experience
one
and
of that
experiments.
was just one. It's all you got sexual. You know how to build sexual attention, how to increase attraction. Like it's a whole bunch of.
There's a
things.
lot of factors in dating, and then also people don't talk about like
It's a science.
there's different dating
Well,
factors
art,
depending
same
on
thing.
what type of person you date. So we had a conversation for the people that are listening before that, and about, for example, men using females and women. And Chris's cousin said that.
Wait, hold on. Clarifying that they use the word female versus the word women.
Right. Oh, sorry. They
Yeah.
clarify using the word female versus women to describe women. And Chris's cousin was like, some of the women I deal with would be offended if I called like y'all women instead of y'all females, right? So my whole thing's like, well, you're probably dealing with a different type of woman. And he's like, you're probably right. So, you know, sometimes you have to think about dating too, is like, what type of person you're talking about. I mean, it's a sensitive subject, but sometimes class does come into play. What's normal to some people and what's not normal to some people. Also cultures. If you're speaking to an Asian woman compared to a black woman, compared to a Mexican woman, some dating strategies might be different. So, you know, going to Chris being a dating master, I'm sure you study all different types. You know, I guess the bougie girl compared to the round the way girl. There's certain things that you could do with, you can't do with either one of them, or you have to come at them different. So going back to the last podcast, I think the guys I date, they have no issue with how I think because they think the same way as me. I even went back to one of my exes.
They understand the trade-off.
They understand the trade-off. He's like, oh, you were right. Like, he was just like, you probably should have worded it better. But men of a certain caliber, I'll say that.
Especially men with money.
Men
They
with
know
money,
that they can buy women.
They know what it is.
They know that
Or
if they
not
didn't
even-
they know that if they didn't have $5.6 million in the bank, they wouldn't be able to
Or
get
not
the girl
even-
with no waist and big ass titties
Or,
and
like,
fat ass.
See,
and
those are squares. So you got L7s.
it doesn't matter.
No.
They know
Yeah.
that they can. But it doesn't matter what kind of
Even
men
A
they
woman's
are.
nature is not going to change no matter how much money is in or out of her account.
And
So
a
I look
woman-
at human nature.
And a woman's physical appearance is probably not going to change unless they have Kardashian surgery money. So it's kind of like, okay, let me backtrack. It's not necessarily men with money because it's not like my exes were millionaires. It's just of a certain status, usually their education, how they were brought up. They really didn't think anything was wrong with that, you know? But I know some men of a certain type of background will look at me as like, oh, you think you're all that, you're sedity. But women all around me, you know, I'll never forget, I was at a party with my mom, and this lady, I'm not going to say her race, but she was telling her daughter what type of doctor to marry.
She was right. They
Okay.
do. They train.
That's
white
what-
women train their girls up to do that shit from the moment
That's
that
what
they're
I'm
born.
around. So it's kind of like you also have to think about the person individually and what they're used to. Now, there's some women that they just want a guy to have a good job and to come home, and that's just steady, you know? And there's some women that are literally going to places and putting themselves in environments to marry a certain type of man. I mean, there was a whole article about a woman saying women should go to Ivy League schools to marry. A whole article from Princeton.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not.
So it's this whole bourgeois. I mean, my ex went to Harvard, and he even said, he was like, the girls that go to Harvard marry Ivy League, or they marry top tier schools. They don't even. It's that type of environment. So probably what I said the last podcast came off as very like brash, but if that's just your environment, that's your environment. It might be different in Birmingham. I think Birmingham's just a little bit more humble. They're a little bit more down to earth. I don't mean that as a negative way.
I understand. I mean, you gotta look at the region. The region is going to dictate the dynamics around dating. So, religion, all of this is the Bible Belt. And in the South, majority is got the most disease as far as health-wise, most health issues. Education is the lowest. Income is the lowest. Like, this whole region of the country is designed to run a certain way because of the origins of the South.
Right. There's not as much money here.
All of that. So, the way we look at things, we look for the feeling. Like, I want that Southern feeling. You got that Southern vibe. So, everything around our experience is more so, it's about getting a feeling. It ain't about accomplishing a goal. It ain't about coming together. Hey, your family comes from this. We want to do the business. People try to mix in those love and he made me give me butterflies. They try to mix that into the business pot. You got to separate the two.
You have to.
But women and a lot of other, even men too, they think they can get both.
You can't.
It'll be a rare case you get the money and the love.
You can't get both. Rare. I'm sorry. I'm a firm believer that
you gotta pick
if you get money and love, you have a Russell Wilson situation, girl, you hit the jackpot. But
yeah, that's true.
For the majority of women, we have to choose. And I think I would choose the money, and then I would have unconditional love with my kids. That's my perfect situation. But there's some women that would rather the love over the money, and that's perfectly fine. That's their decision. You know, and when I say money, I don't mean I'm only dating multimillionaires, ballers. I'm just talking about a financially stable man.
And ain't nothing wrong with wanting finance. I tell you, like, men shouldn't even be dating on that level because they don't know they bite off more than they can chew. A lot of men get out their league trying to date this type of woman, this high caliber, high status
and
woman.
Get heartbroken.
You weren't ready for what you thought you was ready for. So if you ain't,
I think
you ain't in tip top shape, you shouldn't be fighting.
I think men in their 20s and early 30s honestly shouldn't even focus on dating. I think they should focus on getting their money up, focusing on establishing themselves. I just think you're too young. I usually date older just for that because, you know, y'all are getting yourselves together, you know, and y'all really don't have time or the resources to really like court a woman, or get a woman that you really like, get to know her. And that way, I think men should wait longer to get married. You know, that's why a lot of times men marry younger women because they hit 36, 37, 38, and now they want this 25 to 28-year-old because they're ready now to date her, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to take a man out of the market that's not ready to have a serious relationship. Not at this stage in my life. If I was 22, and I'll say this disclaimer, if you're under the age of 25, girl, have fun. Do what you want. Make those
Unless
memories.
you already met that person that's already like that you know.
Right. Make those memories. Experiment. You know, date that cute guy, even though you know he, whatever. But I think as women mature, they want more. They want a little more.
Okay.
That's fine.
So, Chris, this is another question that came in. What happened to courting a woman? Oh. If you value her time, wouldn't you treat her as such? Like putting your best foot forward if you want to keep her around?
Of course, we spoke about this on my guys' podcast earlier. Courtship is the initial state or phase before I actually marry you. Like, we can't get to courting unless we completed successful dating. Meaning,
what's the difference? The
difference between dating and courting? Mm-hmm. Dating, I'm just getting to know you. I have some time on a lot. We can get together, enjoy each other, kick it, and we get to know each other while we're doing the things we have in common. Courtship is, okay, we've dated successfully, we've confirmed that we got a connection, we got each other's goals down, we know what makes us tick, we want the same thing, so now we're going to go into the courtship.
So how do you know that the dating phase is concluded?
Well, let's look at another thing with courtship. Courtship is not so much to impress the woman, it's to show the father that, hey, I'm eligible. Because I haven't met your father yet because we're just dating. You don't know me yet, so why you even taking around your father? The courtship phase is when I meet your parents. This is who I'm dating seriously. I need to prove myself to the father that I'm able to keep your daughter and protect your daughter the same way you have or not better.
Okay, so dating is y'all just basically kicking it, and then when you enter into the courtship part, are you committed to this person?
Yeah, this is the one I went, because if I'm dating, like I said, it's okay if you're not doing whatever or having a commitment in a date. You can be dating here, and here, but this is the one I chose for courtship. This is gonna be my wife. So now I'm gonna prove myself to her father. That's what the courtship. People got this misconception that a man's supposed to be sweeping a girl off her feet, coming with glass slippers and flowers, because it makes her feel good. It's really to prove to the father.
That's not how I view courting.
A lot of women view it that way, but courtship is for the father to approve me. Because this is my first time meeting you.
Well, how do you look at courting, Cody?
Well, I don't know why I'm laughing. I've always viewed the whole relationship, dating, and talking into 3 levels, right? So I meet you, you express interest in me, and we're talking. We talk on the phone. We do this, we do that, whatever. Then we decide that we're going to go out with each other. So we start kicking it. We start going here. We start making plans with each other. We start doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, well now we've graduated from talking to dating. Now that you've decided we've done this hanging out thing for a while and we have a good time. Now you've decided I don't want nobody else to have you. I want you to be my girl. So let's be in a committed relationship. So there is a graduation to each level. That's how I've always dated it. Viewed it. But I also felt like through that whole time, I feel like courting is kind of like an underlining thing that you're doing between the dating and relationship phase, because for me, courting is like we both have a mutual understanding that we're not going to waste each other's times. Now, whether or not that means we decide to be in a relationship or not, that's up in the air, but we know that the intent is not to waste each other's time. So it could be me and you are going out and I'm also possibly dating somebody else, but I'm dating to try to find the person that I want to be with forever. I'm not just dating so I can get me a nut, or because I like her cooking and I like her titties more than this girl's titties. Oh, and she work at this club so I know I can get in for free. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys use different girls for different things. Like, they have their rotation because there are also resources that they like to get from women as well. But or at least in the person that I'm speaking of, in my mind, there's a guy who's like, I'm dating because I want to find the person that I want to spend with. But at the same time, I've also learned that men do not know how to be straightforward enough to be able to really do something like that either.
Women aren't straightforward either. I'm not gonna put that
shit. I am. I don't give a fuck.
Women aren't straightforward either. I mean, if you just look at human nature, people aren't gonna tell you the truth.
Man, fuck all that.
You'll probably never know. You'll probably never know why someone really broke up with you. You'll probably never know why you didn't get a call back from a date, men or women. People are not gonna tell the truth.
I'm gonna let you know.
See, I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
I know you don't.
I just ignore.
She'll just ignore a situation.
Or I just block them.
Or she's very passive aggressive. She's
I just ignore, block them. But like, I'm not.
When you look at, like I said, the courtship and all of that, those phases, it's just one of these phases is too extended. Which is that, like, we don't look at the court and the dating like we should. You got this boyfriend girlfriend phase that's too long, and it puts miles on the car that you intended to drive across the country. You putting 100,000 miles just riding around your city. So you're doing this boyfriend girlfriend phase. It's immature. You're doing it too long. So now you trying to mirror the boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic into a marriage. So you treat your husband like your boyfriend. I'm treating my wife like my girlfriend. The wife and the girlfriend, they don't compare. Once I say you my wife and we get married, they don't compare. Once you distinguish that, you gotta understand the difference between wife and girlfriend. Like,
they're two different things.
Two different things.
I think a lot of women, though, Chris, they're trying to treat their man like a husband and they're just a girlfriend. I think that's what gets a lot of women messed up. I had a friend who was cleaning her man's house, doing laundry, cooking, and I was like, girl, I wish.
She auditioned?
She
auditioned? For what?
She was. I don't audition.
Yeah, she basically is.
I don't audition because to me,
and I don't think anything wrong with doing that every once in a while.
I don't think a woman should do that at all, unless she has a ring, unless her name has changed. I don't, because
I think you view it like that because those are viewed as like traditional women roles, or like that's a traditional gender role, right?
Right.
Whereas
but I think that's a privilege. Like, this. I just don't think any woman should treat her boyfriend like a husband until he is a husband. Until he says, "Will you marry me? Here's the wedding date," or "Here we're about to go to the courthouse. We're about to sign these documents." Because it's kind of like the saying, "Why buy the cow if the milk is for free?" I think a lot of women get stuck in these situationships where they're playing all these roles. That's how women get bitter, and they wonder why, like, wow, like he doesn't want to take the next step with me, because you're not supposed to be doing all that in the courting stage and the girlfriend and boyfriend stage. And if you really want to get honest, and my mom told me this when I was 18, and I was heartbroken because I had a boyfriend and he cheated on me, and I was just like crying. She looked at me, I was crying. She was like, "Shelley, you're single until you're married." That's what she told me.
I've heard this. Yeah.
She told me point blank.
That's true.
She told me point blank. She was just like,
absolutely.
That man. She's like, look, don't ever get upset about a man cheating on you unless he's your husband, because y'all are all single. She's like, you move on. If he's moving on, you move on. And it hurt, because when you're 18 and 19, most women, I used to not always be like this. I used to be a lover. I used to be a lover. I used to be a lover. I used to do all those things. I used to be a lover. I used to be sensitive. If anyone knew me 3 years ago,
text messages.
Right, I used to send the paragraphs. Yeah, like, I used to be a lover. If you dated me 3 years ago, I'm a completely different person now, because I realized that men and women, I'll say this, but in my personal experience, men don't appreciate a woman when she does nice things too early. Bro, men don't.
My brother's name.
Bro, she's looking at my text messages. Like, stop.
I saw my brother's name, so I was like,
no, not Julius. But
oh wow.
Men don't appreciate women that do too much. I think in some ways, y'all would never admit it, but I think sometimes you kind of lose a little respect, because most women can say that the men that have liked them the most have been the men that they didn't like. The men that you were kind of bitchy, because men love bitches.
You know what?
Y'all loved, like, if
y'all do like me.
If I'm mean and be like, I don't care, like, or I go ghost, y'all are on me, or guys will be on me. But if I'm like texting you back, calling you baby, doing nice things for you, in 2 months, 3 months, 2 weeks time, whatever, y'all on to the next one. Y'all are bored. Y'all are saying I'm too nice, and then it's just like, oh, I have to play this game till we die. I have to play this cat and mouse game, this chase game till you die.
One dynamic, and I've heard many women say this, they were taught by older women, grandmothers, great aunts, whatever, to get a man that loves you more than you love him.
That's what my family
because
taught me.
he's going to go the extra mile without you, overextending or whatever.
Men need to love their women more than women, because we naturally love harder. Think about it. Women naturally love harder.
I don't agree to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how.
Okay, please.
Because a man dedicates his life to, his family, his wife, and his family being straight. Meaning, if he got to work stressful days and then deal with your attitude, because they say a happy wife is a happy life, you disregard the man's feeling, whereas a happy spouse, happy house. So it's all about what she wants. He's doing everything in his power. He working, he cleaning, making sure the grass cut, protecting, providing, disciplinarian. He wearing so many hats to where. What's the trade-off? Like, I'm saying, what a woman is not doing is equal for him to what she doing to make him happy, because if she not happy, the whole house unhappy. Right. A man will sit in his depression, do whatever, hang out after work 2 extra hours, just to vent, and still come home dissatisfied and miserable because what he getting from his wife. But he'll still do whatever it takes to keep the house going. He ain't gonna stop paying the bills because he mad. He ain't gonna stop paying the bills because he depressed. He just gonna deal with it in hopes it gets better, and he's gonna learn after a while it's not gonna get better.
Have you talked to women about raising kids, how hard that is?
Of course.
Like rearing a child. Have you also talked to women about how it feels to be cheated on?
I mean, I understand it goes both ways.
No, but have you really talked to women like the betrayal? I mean, I can only speak.
How I feel. I've been cheated on myself, but I'm not.
Okay, but I'm not saying that men don't get hurt. They do, but in terms of relationships, I think men and women also have two different definitions of what a good relationship is. Okay,
so you said, do I like being pursued? The answer to that is no. I like for women to show her interest by making herself available when I'm available. So you don't have to pursue me. Like, I don't think men really don't just want a woman. Like, why you chasing me? Like, you looking for something. If a woman chasing something, she looking for something. It's like if a man.
That wasn't my question, by the way.
I know, I understand. I'm just breaking it down for dudes who may say, yeah, I like a woman to chase. I like you to show interest, but you can't pursue me. Like, because I'm pursuing something else. So you're going to be, until I get what I'm pursuing, will be maybe the stopping point for you to get what you pursuing. To where I'll be able to open up to engage. Why you so persistent in pursuing me this way? You trying to get something. And I'm going to find that out more sooner than later.
Okay. Alrighty then. It's a great way to end the show.
Indeed.
Alright, do you guys want to promote your social media so I can go home?
Indeed. It's the Date Master. All social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, yeah, everything. Double Cup Combos, also all social media. That's at Double Cup Combos. Check us out. You know, we have a plethora of content you can consume, and thank you for listening.
I don't have social media, so.
Alright. Well, you guys already know that you can follow me at I Am The Real CoCo on all social media platforms. And if you want to listen to this podcast, it's CoCo'sTea.com. Coco's Tea on all streaming platforms. Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere you listen to podcasts. CoCo's Tea is there. Thank you for listening.
Try to run just doing all the noises and shit in there. Hey! Coco be going live. 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 Every day I'm tuned in. Coco be going live. Shawty got it jumping like Freak Neat back in '95.